Hello traders and welcome to another video review. Today is Friday, May 16th, 2025. Let's take a look at the Forex economic calendar for today. Overnight data were not really impressive. We got some business PMI from New Zealand, 53 points. 53.9, beats the expectations of 53.2. GDP in Japan goes down from 2.4 to minus 0.7, and the quarter GDP goes down from the 0.6 to minus 0.2. So terrible data from the Japan. Inflation expectations in New Zealand increases from 2.1 to 2.3, and of course we got some data from Japan as well. Industrial production down from 2.3% to 0.2%, quite better than the minus 1.1 expected. Italian CPI scheduled for release at 10 o'clock. At 11 o'clock, Eurozone trade balance. At noon, Eurozone economic forecast are scheduled for release. And then we have the data from the USA. Building permits, export price index, housing starts, and import price index are scheduled for release at 2:30. Foreign securities purchases from Canada are scheduled for release at 2:30 as well. Michigan 1 5-year inflation expectations together with the consumer expectations and consumer sentiment data are scheduled for release at 4 o'clock, so quite impressive bunch of data. Then we have some speech from ECB Lane. Atlanta Fed GDP now is scheduled for release at 5:30, and at the end of the day we got US Baker Hughes oil recount and total recount scheduled for release at 7 o'clock. It looks like the US session is way more busier and richer in data releases, so it looks like the volatility might kick in during the US trading session. Now, without any further ado, let's switch to the charts. We start with euro dollar. The 4-hour chart of the euro dollar is still looking quite bearish. We made a local low at 1.1066. Then we have the jump towards 1.1266. So it's like a immediate 200 pips. However, there is still a sequence of the lower highs and of course the lower lows, so the downtrend is being maintained. As you can see that there is still some room to the downside in wave 4. However, right now we are consolidating around the technical resistance, a very important level, 1.1214, and the bulls are still capable of breaking to the upside out of the channel above the 100 periods moving average, which is at 1.1299, and then up we go towards 1.1382. So quite nice situation here for the bulls if they break above the technical resistance. Momentum wise, we just oscillating around the level of 50, so neither bulls nor bears are in charge of the market. However, there was a significant bounce from the extremely oversold market conditions, and bulls are ready to continue higher. US dollar versus the Japanese yen is going down after the poor Japanese data. We broke below the 146.20 technical resistance. Now the technical support now will be acting as the technical resistance. We are approaching the 100 periods moving average, 144.53, and the lower channel line as well. With this decreasing rapidly momentum right now, 37 points, bears are in charge of the market, so the recent developments are definitely in favor of the bears. Now, this channel doesn't actually look that good because there's too many breakouts above this channel, so maybe we will expand it like this. However, it still doesn't look good, so let me just remove the upper channel line because it doesn't actually work. However, the uptrend trend line might stay here on this place, but we will change it to the orange color as usual. Any breakout below the orange trend line is bearish, and the targets immediate target is 142.43. So US dollar Japanese yen bearish outlook. Let's take a look at the US dollar to the Canadian dollar. 4-hour time frame chart ahead of the crude oil data is showing us nice improvement to the upside. Let me just finish with some levels. Now, support 1.3749 technical support, and there is one more technical support located here, very important one. It used to be tested here twice at least. 1.30 let me just take a look here. 1.3903. Now, resistances, this is quite simple, because the resistance is located roughly around here, and the market definitely sees this level 1.4026. The bulls tried to break above this level twice, but they failed. They made it towards 1.4014 and then reversed lower. For now, we are in the internal range, very limited market movements between the technical support and the technical resistance. So the situation here is quite unclear, neither for bulls nor for bears. Momentum 49 points, which is neutral momentum. We are waiting for the trigger on the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. How about the crude oil? Before the data release, we got this Fibonacci measurement here. We know that we retrace 38%, then we have a slight bounce. However, the bulls managed only to hit the 62.33 level before another leg to the downside has started. Momentum went to the level of 50, neutral level. Now it's pointing to the downside. So any breakout below 100 periods moving average, which is 60.60, and below the yesterday's low at 60.46, makes quite possible the level of 50% of the Fibonacci retracement is tested, or even 61% might be tested. So the outlook remains still bearish for the crude oil. Any breakout back down below the trend line. Let me just make it a little bit longer. Any breakout below the trend line is even more bearish than usual, because this trend line looks very nice here on the longer time frame. I mean, from the longer perspective, this is the April and the May perspective. So very nice movement to the upside. Maybe this is the correction, and then we will go up. However, please notice no breakout below the trend line if the market scenario is bullish, right? So that's something we need to remember. Gold. What is gold doing? Excellent ABC correction to the downside. It looks like the level of 3,120 might be the bottom of the temporary down movement in the corrective cycle for the gold. Now we got the technical supports ready. Locally we went towards 3,251, but we need to break above 3,265, then test the 100 periods moving average 3,289, then test the short-term trend line, then test the longer-term trend line, I mean longer perspective trend line. This is still 4-hour time frame chart, and then the market is ready to move higher. For now, we bounced from the extremely oversold conditions towards the level of 50 on the RSI, and now we're staying here, as you can see, waiting for a trigger to move higher. Please notice ABC correction might be completed for gold. And last but not least, Bitcoin still doing nothing, consolidating inside of this range since the May 12, 2025, so it's 4 days long. Bitcoin is doing virtually nothing, bouncing around the level of 50 on the RSI, which means that we need to wait for the trigger to, of course, start some sort of the movement in the Bitcoin sooner or later. So the current situation on the Bitcoin is still bullish. We are still above the 100 periods moving average. The momentum is, even now, it's quite positive, but it's not strong whatsoever. So the key level here is, of course, those 3 levels are the key levels, and these 3 levels consist the supply zone. The top for the supply zone is the all-time high. Any breakout then is obviously bullish for the Bitcoin. For now, quiet market, waiting for something to happen. That's everything from me for today. Thank you very much for watching this analysis, and I hope I see you guys next time. Take care and bye bye.